Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we will be discussing a highly captivating film titled Godzilla vs. Kong. This film is directed by Adam Wingard and features notable actors such as Alexander Skarsgård, Millie Bobby Brown, Rebecca Hall, and other prominent names. Without further ado, let's delve into the storyline of Godzilla vs. Kong. Somewhere on Skull Island, the mighty Kong awakens from his slumber. He goes about his morning routine as usual, taking a shower, engaging in light exercise, and so on. Kong then uproots a tree and fashions it into a makeshift spear. It's during this time that he encounters a young girl named Gia. They appear to share a unique form of communication. For a moment, Kong takes notice of a doll created by Gia. Kong then hurls the tree he was holding into the sky, creating a hole in the ceiling of Skull Island. Unbeknownst to him, Skull Island is now encircled by a protective dome constructed by Monarch. The recent attack by Kong has led to panic among Monarch's personnel. An officer approaches Kong's caretaker, Dr. Andrews. Monarch's employees suggest relocating Kong rather than confining him, but Andrews holds a different perspective. He is concerned that if Kong roams freely, it will lead to a life and death battle between Kong and Godzilla. Andrews believes that if Kong steps out, Godzilla will undoubtedly come to confront him, as there cannot be two Alpha Titans on the face of the earth. The Iwi tribe, the native inhabitants of Skull Island, had long foreseen this battle. Gia then approached Andrews. She is Andrews' adopted daughter. The two of them then departed. Elsewhere, a conspiracy monster podcast host named Bernie broadcasted a conspiracy news regarding the monsters. He claimed that these were critical times and predicted something terrible would occur, vowing to investigate. Bernie then exited his vehicle and entered the Apex Cybernetics facility located in Florida. Apex Cybernetics is a leading technology company that is currently the most advanced on Earth. Apex is led by a man named Walter Simmons. Bernie entered the Apex facility. He was an intern there. Bernie disrupted his co-worker who was operating a machine. He irritated his co-worker to the point where the co-worker got frustrated and decided to take a break in the restroom. Bernie then proceeded to hack his co-worker's computer, gaining access to the company's network and downloading several files. Bernie discovered that Apex Florida was currently constructing a massive facility at their headquarters in Hong Kong. Bernie was startled by an alarm that sounded. It was a warning of Godzilla's attack, and indeed, Godzilla was rapidly swimming towards the Apex facility in Florida from the sea. This led to the evacuation of all Apex employees, but Bernie chose a different course of action. He sneaked into the office. Outside, several fighter jets attempted to stop Godzilla, but in vain. The attacks felt like mosquito bites to Godzilla. Inside, Bernie was confronted by two security personnel. Suddenly, an atomic breath struck the two officers, creating a chasm in front of Bernie. From behind the wall, Bernie observed a strange red glowing machine. Outside, Godzilla continued his rampage, destroying the Apex facility. The following day, the news on television broadcasted Godzilla's brutal attack on the Apex plant the previous night. After school, Madai, while walking home, listened to Bernie's podcast, where he claimed that there must have been a reason for Godzilla's attack the previous night. Near the ruined Apex facility, Maddie met her father, Mark, who worked in a Monarch containment site. Maddie explained that Godzilla's attack was certainly not random. There had to be a specific purpose behind it. However, Mark didn't pay much heed to Maddie's words. He explained that Godzilla might have changed, turning from a force for good to one of destruction. Mark was worried because there seemed to be no way to stop Godzilla. Back at home, Madai grew increasingly emotional as she listened to Bernie's podcast, becoming more convinced that something had triggered Godzilla's anger. In Denham, Pennsylvania, Walter Simmons, the head of Apex Cybernetics, met with a scientist who had developed a theory about Hollow Earth. This scientist was Dr. Nathan. Walter was interested in Nathan's research findings. He offered an expedition to the Earth's core, where an extraordinary energy source was believed to exist, one that could sustain the Titan's life. Walter aimed to use this energy to create a defense system against Godzilla's attacks. Nathan was initially skeptical because he and his brother had previously attempted such an expedition, but had failed due to the reverse gravity at the Earth's core, which destroyed their vehicle and killed Nathan's brother. Walter then explained that Apex had developed an advanced, powerful vehicle that could overcome the Earth's gravitational challenges. He assured Nathan that he would provide all the necessary resources. Nathan, initially hesitant, eventually agreed. Nathan then mentioned a research result called genetic memory, stating that all Titans were driven to return to their evolutionary source. If it's true that the Titans originate from the Hollow Earth, then Nathan would ask for the help of a Titan to assist him on the journey there. On Skull Island, Gia comforted her foster mother, Andrews, who was feeling tense. They communicated using sign language because Gia had been deaf since birth. A while later, Nathan arrived on Skull Island. He requested Andrew's help in persuading Gia to assist his team on the journey to the Earth's core. Initially, Andrews was hesitant, but Nathan explained that his research indicated that all Titans originated from the Hollow Earth. It was possible that Kong came from there, and it might be the safest place for him. Despite some reservations, Andrews decided to assist Nathan in obtaining Monarch's permission to move Kong from Skull Island. A few days later, the expedition was underway. Kong was shackled and sedated on a massive ship, escorted by several battleships heading to Antarctica, where the gateway to the Earth's core was located. A helicopter landed on the ship, and Nathan went out to meet someone who had disembarked from the helicopter. She was Maya Simmons, Walter Simmons' daughter, who would represent her father on the expedition to the Hollow Earth. Maya explained that the vehicle they would use was highly advanced. Its batteries alone could power Las Vegas for a week. That night, the ship's captain reported to Andrews that they had taken a route never before traversed by Godzilla. The captain inquired about what would happen if Godzilla and Kong were to meet. Would they engage in a battle until one of them submitted? Andrews chuckled upon hearing this and explained that Kong had never submitted to anyone. Amidst the pouring rain, Gia sensed something strange. She walked towards Kong, comforting the restless Titan. With Gia's assistance, Kong calmed down. In front of Kong, Andrews asked Gia what was happening. Gia then explained that Kong was feeling homesick. Andrews was astonished and couldn't believe her eyes. The king could communicate after all. Elsewhere, Madai contacted her friend Josh for help in finding the Conspiracy Monster podcast host. She believed this person could help her unravel the mystery behind Godzilla's recent rampage. They set off in a minivan, with Maddie having tracked the whereabouts of the podcast host for some time. In Chinatown, Madai inquired with a storekeeper about someone who exhibited odd behavior and frequently purchased unusual items there. Initially hesitant, the person refused to divulge information, but after some financial persuasion, he revealed Bernie's hiding place. Without much delay, Maddie and Josh headed to Bernie's dimly lit apartment. Maddie knocked on the door, but Bernie refused to open it. She then explained that she was the daughter of the late Emma Russell. Upon hearing this, Bernie promptly let them in. Bernie instructed Maddie and Josh to enter, recognizing Emma as the leader of Monarch. Inside, Maddie asserted that Godzilla's attack the other day couldn't have been random. There had to be a purpose behind it. Bernie explained that he had been interning at Apex for several months and had discovered that Apex was preparing something significant in Hong Kong. He also noticed something suspicious during Godzilla's attack. The three of them then made their way to Apex. In the midst of the Tasman Sea, Kong was having his breakfast in the morning. Inside, Andrews conversed with Nathan. Andrews stated that Kong was Gia's protector, and without her, Kong might have gone on a rampage, tearing apart the ship. A massive storm had occurred a few years ago, killing nearly all the local inhabitants of Skull Island and leaving only Gia behind. Kong had protected her at all costs. A short while later, an alarm sounded. In the distance, Godzilla was seen approaching the convoy. Sensing the threat, Kong reacted. Andrews instructed Nathan to release the shackles binding Kong. However, Nathan hesitated, deeming it highly dangerous. Several battleships fired cannons at Godzilla, which only further agitated him. He rammed into one ship, destroying another from underwater. Godzilla collided with the ship carrying Kong, flipping it over. Trapped in this dire situation, Andrews finally decided to release the shackles binding Kong. Once freed, Kong and Godzilla engaged in battle. Kong righted the overturned ship and stood atop it. Fortunately, Gia and the others were still safe. Kong then leapt between the ships, heading for the largest battleship to challenge Godzilla. The brash Godzilla accepted Kong's challenge and ascended the ship. They immediately engaged in a fierce battle. Two of the Earth's mightiest titans refused to back down. Kong pushed Godzilla into the water, and from within the water, Godzilla unleashed his atomic breath. Kong jumped into the water, Godzilla trapped Kong and pulled him to the ocean floor. Above, the remaining battleships fired depth charges to assist Kong. The explosives went off and Kong resurfaced, but he was running out of breath. A helpless Kong lay exhausted on the ship, knowing that Godzilla was still lurking. Nathan instructed the ship's captain to shut down all the ship's systems and pretend to be disabled, making Godzilla believe he had won. From a distance, Godzilla saw his seemingly defeated foe lying motionless and eventually departed. Inside the ship, Gia expressed her gratitude to Kong for his valiant effort in saving them. In the ruined Apex facility, Bernie led Maddie and Josh to examine something he found suspicious. However, when they entered the designated room, the object Bernie was looking for had disappeared. Maddie then discovered a functioning elevator. They entered it, and the elevator descended deeper underground. After arriving, they found various stacks of containers. They heard Apex personnel approaching. In a panic, they entered one of the containers. Inside, Matey was shocked to see that the container held skullcrawler eggs. Unexpectedly, the container's door closed, and it began moving. The container was transported into a tunnel and then accelerated at high speed toward Hong Kong. In Antarctica, Kong was transported via several helicopters to a cave. Upon arriving at the cave's entrance, Kong woke up. Nathan asked for Gia's help in persuading Kong to enter the cave. Kong initially resisted, not wanting to go inside. Andrews explained that the cave might offer a new, safer home for Kong, and there might be creatures similar to Kong inside. Gia conveyed this to Kong, who eventually agreed and entered the cave. Nathan and the others followed Kong from behind, boarding Apex advanced aircraft. Inside the cave, Kong led them towards the hollow earth. They were gradually pulled deeper. They eventually reached the Earth's core, and indeed, they encountered a powerful gravitational reversal. Fortunately, the aircraft managed to survive. They found a vast and beautiful forest, reminiscent of Skull Island. The place was inhabited by numerous strange creatures. Unexpectedly, one of the aircrafts was attacked by a winged serpent-like monster. Kong turned around and engaged the creature, becoming briefly ensnared. Nathan then assisted by shooting the monster, enabling Kong to defeat it and devour its head. Kong continued his journey and ascended to the mountaintop. Several floating rocks appeared before him, marking the boundary of gravity. Kong then made a leap, crossing into the changed gravitational field, and landed on the mountain above. Elsewhere, the cargo-carrying Mata and her companions finally arrived in Hong Kong. They disembarked and quietly checked their surroundings. They entered a vast chamber, and while inspecting the area, they heard an alarm indicating that a demonstration would begin shortly. Up above, Walter Simmons prepared his team for a demonstration. Then a colossal robotic figure emerged from below. Walter established a remote satellite connection. In another location, a pilot donned a helmet to control the gigantic robot from a distance. Suddenly, the robot in the arena activated. It was a massive Godzilla-like figure. This was mechagodzilla. A few moments later, a skullcrawler emerged from one of the gates. Madi and the others panicked, seeking cover. Mechagodzilla captured the skullcrawler and unleashed its atomic breath upon it. Then, the robot malfunctioned due to energy depletion. Up above, Walter explained that once they harnessed the energy from the Earth's core, nothing could stop them. This event attracted Godzilla, who sensed the energy vibrations from a distance. Godzilla swam at high speed toward Hong Kong. Monarch personnel who were aware of this movement hastily prepared to depart for Hong Kong. Inside the Earth's core, Kong ran toward a mountain and discovered a handprint-like symbol. Kong touched it, pushing a rock in front of him to reveal a gateway. It turned out to be a portal. Kong walked through it, and inside, he retrieved an object embedded in a skull. It was an axe. Kong then reacted and seated himself on a giant throne as if the place had been created for species like himself. At Apex's Hong Kong headquarters, Maddie and her companions saw a King Ghidorah skull, within which an operator sat controlling the Mechagodzilla robot. Apex had used Ghidorah's DNA to build Mechagodzilla and utilized the neural pathways within the skull to control it. Outside, Godzilla had reached Hong Kong Bay. Godzilla walked ashore and began rampaging uncontrollably. Everyone sought shelter in underground bunkers for protection. Kong's axe reacted and he placed it in a specific location, causing the area to light up and form a Godzilla symbol. Kong used it to absorb radiation from the Earth's core, as if recharging his battery. Up above, the busy Godzilla sensed something amiss. Godzilla unleashed his atomic breath downward. In the Earth's core, Maya released a machine that collected energy samples from the core. The machine then transmitted the energy data from the Earth's core to Apex's Hong Kong office. Inside the Apex office, they promptly engineered and synthesized the energy. Deep underground, Andrews was outraged by Maya's actions. Maya then ordered her subordinates to aim their weapons at Andrews. Seeing this, Kong became furious. A while later, Maya's machine successfully downloaded the energy data from the Earth's core. Up above, Walter immediately instructed his team to reactivate Mechagodzilla. Chaos erupted within the Earth's core. Maya and her team attempted to escape elsewhere. Andrews and the others were confronted by bat-like monsters. Trapped, they were caught in Godzilla's atomic breath, hurling them away. Maya tried to escape by entering the hole created by Godzilla, but Kong managed to catch and crush her vehicle. Seeing the place starting to crumble, Kong retrieved his axe and leaped into the hole created by Godzilla. Nathan and the others followed Kong into the hole. In the Apex office, Madi and her group were captured by the personnel there. In the city center, Kong emerged from Godzilla's hole, both filled with emotion, and they resumed their intense battle. Kong hurled Godzilla. In this encounter, Godzilla struggled to match Kong's strength. Godzilla unleashed his atomic breath, but Kong's axe could absorb the attack and counter it. Godzilla threw Kong's axe, embedding it in a building. Kong dodged Godzilla's atomic breath, but was caught and knocked down by it. Kong then climbed a building, but it was toppled by Godzilla's atomic breath. Nathan and the others, who had just emerged from the hole, were greeted with the ongoing battle of the two mighty titans. Kong leaped to retrieve his axe and mercilessly struck Godzilla. This caused Kong to be thrown and Godzilla collapsed. Kong rose again, defeating Godzilla. The recent attack had drained the energy from Kong's axe. Inside Apex's headquarters, Maddie and her group were brought before Walter. Walter recognized Maddie's late mother, Emma Russell, as they had once collaborated. Walter explained that he had been preparing for this for a long time. He created a machine to protect humanity from Godzilla's brutality. In the city center, Godzilla regained consciousness. Kong then leaped and attacked Godzilla, resuming their battle. This time, Godzilla was truly enraged. He brutally assaulted Kong, repeatedly stomping on him and roaring in his face. Kong responded with a defiant roar. Seeing his opponent was helpless, Godzilla left. Kong attempted to rise but was too weak, eventually collapsing. Inside the Apex headquarters, Walter ordered his subordinates to reactivate mechagodzilla with new energy. However, a system error occurred and mechagodzilla became unstable, moving uncontrollably. It began attacking Walter from behind. In another location, the operator inside the Ghidorah skull was electrocuted to death. Mechagodzilla then moved out of the Apex facility. Outside, the robot went on a rampage, destroying everything in its path. Upon seeing this, Godzilla immediately advanced to attack the giant lizard-like robot. Mechagodzilla was equipped with a complete arsenal to take on Godzilla. Inside the Apex headquarters, Matter remembered that the robot was connected to Ghidorah's skull. They attempted to hack the robot's network. Meanwhile, observing Godzilla struggling against Mechagodzilla, Andrews intended to revive Kong. However, Kong's heart rate was very weak. It required a massive electrical surge to create a shockwave to awaken Kong. Nathan then recalled something. Meanwhile, Godzilla continued the battle. Inside the Apex headquarters, Mad-Eye contacted her father for help. Near Kong, Nathan flew his aircraft towards Kong's chest. Elsewhere, Godzilla and Mechagodzilla engaged in a showdown of atomic breaths. Unexpectedly, Godzilla's atomic breath faltered, and he was thrown in pain. After placing his aircraft on Kong's chest, Nathan set something in motion and quickly fled. Suddenly, the aircraft exploded, successfully reawakening Kong. Gia then informed Kong that Godzilla, despite his misbehavior, was not their enemy. From a distance, Kong witnessed Godzilla's struggle. Gia tearfully pleaded with Kong to help Godzilla. For a moment, Kong contemplated. He set aside his ego and began to rise just as Godzilla was cornered. From behind, Kong attacked Mechagodzilla. Surprising Godzilla, they both united to face the giant lizard-like robot. However, Mechagodzilla proved strong enough to challenge both of them. Kong grabbed his axe and struck the robot, but it pushed him back. Inside the Apex headquarters, due to difficulties in hacking the system, Josh spilled a drink into a computer, causing it to malfunction. This disrupted Mechagodzilla's systems temporarily. This opportunity allowed Godzilla and Kong to counterattack. Together, they tore apart the robotic lizard, and Kong eventually decapitated it. Everyone sighed in relief. Andrews helped Nathan to his feet, and Maddie reunited with her father. In this moment of calm, they were startled by Godzilla's roar. Godzilla approached Kong, causing Kong to panic. However, Godzilla's arrival didn't lead to another fight as before. Kong dropped his axe, and Godzilla, in a somewhat bashful manner, expressed gratitude before departing. In short, the Monarch team built a base in the Hollow Earth to accompany Kong, the Wise King. Kong didn't wish to disturb Godzilla's territory on the planet's surface. Kong chose to be the king within the Hollow Earth. Long live the king, and thus ends the storyline of the film Godzilla vs. Kong. I hope you've enjoyed this. Don't forget to follow this channel. Please write your feedback and suggestions in the comments section, and see you in the next content.